Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your sources and unearth those surprising nuggets of knowledge that help you feel truly well-informed. Today, we're embarking on a, fascinating journey into the surprisingly rich world of the everyday, specifically the profound truths hidden in the most mundane actions. Okay, let's unpack this. Our source material for this deep dive is an excerpt from 100 Daily English Routines, Listening and Speaking Practice. Now, this book, it's designed for A1, A2 English learners, which means it strips away all the complexity, right? It focuses only on the most fundamental, universal actions. And that simplicity, for our purposes, is actually its greatest strength. It lets us see the kind of bare bones of routine without all the cultural or professional clutter, revealing the patterns, habits, and often hidden structures of daily life.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here is how a simple language learning tool inadvertently creates this precise microcosm of a typical human day. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it offers a window into the sequential nature of human activity, from waking moments right through to the end of the day, and it even hints at weekend variations. So our mission today is to extract those deeper insights and explore why these seemingly mundane actions are so incredibly fundamental to our psychology, really, and how we navigate the world.
Okay, so our investigation starts where every day does, the morning. The source kicks off with I wake up at 6 a.m. As we move through those first 20 sentences or so, detailing everything from I get out of bed to I listen to music on the bus, what stands out to you? What's foundational there?
Well, these aren't just foundational actions. They're, I think, our brain's primeval way of signaling the start of the productive day. Think of them as miniature wins, little things that build momentum. It's a common, almost ritualistic sequence of personal care. Like I brush my teeth, I wash my face, I take a shower, and I get dressed. These acts of self-regulation and preparation, they prime our minds and bodies for the day ahead.
Right.
And then there's the element of readying your immediate environment. I make my bed, attending to basic needs, I eat breakfast, I drink coffee. They provide a sense of control, order, before the chaos of the outside world even begins.
That's a great point about those miniature wins. And, it's interesting how even small details get included, like I feed my pet or I pack my bag. Does that seem like a common universal thing? Or maybe a detail that adds a unique layer to the typical morning, something that anchors us to responsibilities beyond just ourselves?
Oh, that's a fantastic observation because it absolutely highlights our broader responsibilities, even in these basic routines. Feeding the pet, it's a small, quiet act of care, isn't it? It connects us to another living being.
Yeah.
It's a miniature commitment for the day before we even step out the door. Then the routines shift. They move towards a transition from the private home to the public sphere. I lock the door, I leave the house. And then the commute actions, like I walk to the bus stop, I wait for the bus, and I take the bus to work. And the inclusion of I listen to music on the bus, that even speaks to how we carve out personal space.
Right, like a little bubble.
Exactly. Comfort within that public transition, creating a microenvironment to sort of prepare for the next phase.
Okay, so having set the stage with those essential morning rituals, our routines then expand into the demands of the public sphere.
Yeah.
Let's zoom in on sentences 21 through 40. These chronicle the heart of the workday or school day. What insights does this highly structured block of time reveal about our collective drive for productivity and interaction?
Yeah, this section really unpacks the purposeful activities that fill a significant chunk of our waking hours. It outlines core professional tasks like I turn on my computer, I check my emails, I attend a meeting, I write reports. What's compelling here is the clear blend. It's independent focus and collaborative engagement. That defines so much of our daily work life. It's about individual agency within a collective framework, really.
And it also acknowledges the critical role of self-care during the day. Things like I drink water during the day and I eat lunch at 12 p.m., even a moment for fresh air with I go for a short walk after lunch. Does that suggest breaks are viewed as necessary for productivity? Or maybe more of a luxury in these basic routines?
I think it strongly implies they're necessary. It shows a clear rhythm within the productive hours, doesn't it? And understanding that, consistent output requires strategic pauses for refreshment, mental reset.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then you have the educational aspect, actions like I attend a class at school, I listen to the teacher, I take notes. This raises an important question, I think. Regardless of whether it's work or school, how much of our core day is dedicated to learning, to structured engagement? The inclusion of I study English every day, even for a language learner, highlights this kind of universal commitment, a commitment to continuous growth, mastery.
Right.
That, for many people, becomes a central pillar of their daily life.
So as the structured demands of work or school start to recede, our focus naturally shifts inward. Sentences 41 through 60, they paint a picture of the evening, a crucial transition, right? Back from public obligation to personal space, rejuvenation. What narrative emerges from these sort of unwinding actions, and how do they prepare us for the next day?
This part of the routine truly signifies that return to the private sphere. It emphasizes recovery and social connection, too. It covers domestic responsibilities like I make dinner, I eat dinner with my family, I clean the kitchen. These are the anchors of home life. They reinforce the social unit.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a strong emphasis on leisure, unwinding, whether it's I watch TV, I read a book, or I talk to my friends on the phone. These are the deliberate acts of decompression. They let us process the day and recharge.
And it wraps up with that nightly wind down. I take a shower, I brush my teeth before bed, I set the alarm clock, and I sleep for 8 hours. There's even that touch of optimism with, I dream about happy things. And, crucially, I plan my next day. That seems to bring the whole cycle together, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This segment underscores the profound psychological importance of a structured end to the day. It's not just about physical prep for sleep, it's mental closure, preparing the mind for the next cycle. Planning the next day shows how routines often loop back on themselves. It provides that sense of continuity, control.
Reduces that morning scramble.
Exactly. Reduces cognitive load for the morning. And that small detail about dreaming about happy things, it speaks to a universal human desire, I think, for peace, positivity, as we transition into our most vulnerable state.
Okay, so we've dissected the typical weekday. But what does this source tell us about weekends and those additional daily sentences? The source includes activities like I go shopping on Saturday, I clean the house, maybe I sleep in on Sunday. How do these expand or shift the narrative of daily routines? What do they reveal about our need for flexibility?
Well, this section, covering sentences 61 to 80 roughly, it clearly illustrates a loosening of that rigid weekday structure. It makes space for more personal choice, more leisure. We see a broader range of activities. I visit my parents, I cook a special meal, various forms of physical activity like I go for a run or I go to the gym. This highlights how weekends often become the canvas, right? For fulfilling personal interests, maintaining social bonds that might be harder to fit into the structured work week. It's a deliberate shift from obligation to personal agency.
In the final section, sentences 81 through 100, it lists a more general array of actions like I check my phone, I send a message, I help my family. These seem less time-specific, more sprinkled throughout. What's the significance of these more granular, almost ubiquitous habits?
This last group, it truly encapsulates the universal micro-habits, the ones that weave throughout any part of the day, regardless of the core routine. They represent the constant maintenance work of life, basically.
Like background tasks.
Exactly. From digital interactions like I write an email to household tasks like I take out the trash. What's fascinating is how many of these also reinforce themes of self-improvement. Well-being, like I study new words, I practice speaking English, I drink water every day, I eat healthy food.
Right, those little reinforcing actions.
Yeah. It highlights that a day isn't just big, defined blocks of time. It's a rich tapestry woven from countless small, essential, and often unconscious actions that cumulatively shape our lives.
Wow. So this deep dive into 100 simple sentences, it's really shown us how our daily routines, no matter how seemingly mundane, form the fundamental architecture of our lives. They reveal these universal patterns, productivity, connection, self-care, even our drive for personal growth. It's a powerful reminder, I think, that our habits, big and small, they aren't just things we do. They're expressions of who we are and how we thrive.
Indeed. And by examining such a comprehensive list of everyday actions, we gain this profound appreciation for the deliberate and often unconscious choices that shape our experience. It raises an important question for you, the listener. How much do your own daily routines reveal? Or even just making a simple list of your recurring actions, what would that reveal about your values, your priorities, your aspirations? What's the hidden narrative of your day?
Exactly. Consider your own day through this lens. If you had to describe your typical 100 sentences, what deep dive insights would they offer and what might surprise you about them? Something to ponder, perhaps, as you navigate your own well-structured or maybe wonderfully unstructured